I think 2025 is the best time to get started learning Chinese. It's not too late. It's never too late. It's something that you can develop. It's a skill, and it's just a growing kind of world out there with China growing as a country. I don't think there's any other language you could choose better. And me, myself, I kind of went down that route a couple years ago, more than a couple, about like a decade ago, I started learning Chinese, and I kind of made a lot of missteps along the way, you could say. I think I went more of the conventional route. I took it in class. I started in high school, continued all the way through college. And yeah, I've studied Chinese for more than 10 years. I don't regret it even a little bit. It's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. And that was back in 2014, 2015-ish. So now it's 2025. And it was really a good investment for my future to learn this language. I mean, if I didn't learn Chinese, and I actually was learning Japanese at the time too, I studied that to about an intermediate level, but nowhere near my Chinese, where right now I'm fully conversational fluent. And learning Chinese has helped me a lot in my career too. Both of my jobs after college, I majored in finance. Both of my jobs after college were kind of finance mixed with Chinese related, because I also studied abroad, studied Chinese, and if I didn't have the Chinese, both of my jobs required me to speak it on a daily basis. If I didn't have Chinese, there's really nothing that sets me apart. Finance is considered to be a good degree. Business in general, it's kind of expansive, but everyone you know is studying finance or accounting or any of these other things too, engineering, whatever. Everyone else is studying these topics, but what sets them apart when they're trying to find a job? I know the job landscape out there, it's not perfect right now, from what I've heard. And a lot of my friends who graduated out of similar time as me are still having trouble finding a job that suits them really. I mean, some of them have found some jobs, you know, they're not completely unemployed, but I don't think they found their optimal favorite job. And it's kind of because they only had one skill. I mean, they only studied their major, whatever that was, and they went all in on that. Whereas with me, I studied languages, Chinese and Japanese. My Japanese not as much, but stacking that on top of another thing, stacking the finance with the Chinese, it set me apart, because these two companies I've worked for are both based in China. They both are kind of in the manufacturing sector. And, you know, China is the global factory, and I don't think that's going to change. I think there's a need for a bridge, because yes, Chinese people, they study English, they study it good, they're able to speak it, but that doesn't necessarily, they don't necessarily want to only have Chinese people that speak English as the second language. Sometimes they want someone who is a native English speaker. A lot of times in the office, if my Chinese coworkers have a question about the best usage of English, the best way to word something, they would ask me, because yes, they speak English, but they don't speak it as fluently as me as a native speaker. But that's kind of in a small aside, actually. When you've learned Chinese to a certain extent, I feel like my English has gotten a lot worse. Just some daily life conversations, I change the wording. I sound kind of, I guess, even a little robotic. Maybe you can tell. I don't know if you guys can tell. Maybe in the comments you could let me know. But do you think my English sounds a little bit robotic? That's just how I feel. But yeah, 2025, it's never too late. I forget what the saying is. It's something along the lines of the best time to plant a tree is like 10 years ago, but the second best time is now. So that would be my advice to you guys. On my channel, I'm going to go through with a bunch of different strategies that I've used, that I've found to work for me. because there is a lot of hacks I could have made along the way. There's a lot of things I could have done to be more efficient. There's some things in learning Chinese that you need to prioritize. If you do certain things too late, it's hard to break old habits. So you want to develop the right habits early and lay a good foundation. And yeah, on my channel, I'll be going through all of that. But 2025, it's a good time to get started. China's only going to rise more with its economic might. And economic might comes with it the incentive to learn that nation's language. I mean, England, maybe 150, 200 years ago became a preeminent power in the world. And everyone in the world speaks English now. Everyone in school tries to learn English because it's just kind of that lasting power. And I'm not saying anything fully about the geopolitical landscape. I'm talking more about trade here. But there's always going to be Chinese companies that are big for the rest of our lives. Maybe past our lives, who knows? But anyone who I'd say is born today or has been born in the last 40, 50 years for the rest of their lives, having Chinese is going to be useful for their career. I think whether it's tech, I mean, even on a soft scale, kind of soft power kind of way. You saw RedNote, that app, Xiaohongshu. It blew up earlier this year. We know TikTok started as a Chinese company. Even just like media landscape, it's going to become more and more Chinese, I think. So having that skill in your back pocket, it's going to open up a lot of doors for you. So I kind of rambled on a little bit, but you get the point. I would highly recommend 2025. The year's not over yet. If you're watching this in 2026, then I guess it applies for then. But get started. It's never too late to start. And listen to my other videos that haven't been made yet to kind of get a grip on how you tackle what sounds like a hard task. Everyone says Chinese is the hardest language, but I don't necessarily think that's actually the case. So that's all for me today. Thank you.